Hello, Arca Swiss Mono-Balls. So I got this the other day and I can't take this off. This is absolutely on there. There's a friction screw missing from there, and I'd like the ability to put one of these on or a selection of. So I need to put a 3/8 thread in there, unless that's what's there already. It might be actually, but I can't take it off, so I've got to take the whole thing apart and give it a service. This is one of the early monoballs, so I thought I'd show you chaps how I did that, in case that was helpful to you. So, into the garage. Well, here we are in the garage. The first thing I want to do, one of the first things, is clean off all this excess glue where the metal label was. So I think probably the best thing to do is to take it apart, so then all I've got is the casing, so I'll do that. And the tension screw that goes in the side here, that's missing. It's not being very cooperative. This one, I think maybe you get a better head on that. Oh yeah, that's the one. Very important to get the right size screw head. Not sure that that's going. Did that just go? That's going to be a problem. Okay, so first problem encountered. Two out of three, not bad I suppose. Right, okay. Okay, bring out the big guns. This is an impact wrench. So, as you hit it with a hammer, it spins round. Very good for Japanese engine casings. Yeah, that's done that. Get out. I've been buying tools since I was 17, and I've worked on all sorts of stuff like cars and bikes, and mainly motorbikes. But whenever I've needed a tool, within reason, I've gone out and bought it, and I've not got rid of them or thrown them away. So I've ended up with a really good little toolkit. Right, that's the knob for tightening up the panning head. There we go. So this here is the panning head, and if I undo these three screws here, this just comes off, and I'll do that. I'll clean that up. Oh, I might as well do it now, I suppose. They're in there proper and good, aren't they? Back to that then. I don't think this has ever been taken apart, it doesn't look like it. I think we need a bit of a bigger persuader. That's one. Doesn't want to know that one. That's two. As I say, these impact drivers, you don't use them very often, but when you need them, they're really useful things to have. There we go. Totally the wrong end for it. Buggered that. Oh well. There you go. So then that should just push out. It doesn't want to. Might need a little bit of gentle persuasion. Maybe, mind you, it's probably not been taken off for 25 or 30 years. There we go. That looks like that was crimped into there. I'll just clean that up. Okay, so this is what these look like inside. So I've got this metal plate. I don't know if you can see it, this screw there. So I have to undo that. Try to do this without my hands getting in the way. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Okay, so this plate, this is under the ball, it's got glue. You can see it in these corners or not, but there's little bits of glue. So I'm going to scrape those out. When I put the other one back together again, I didn't re-glue them, so I didn't really see the point. I don't know whether it's to stop people doing this or not. This has never been apart, I can tell that, in all its years. Right, now that looks like the glue's off. Now I want to pull this off. When I put the other one back together again, this just popped in, so that was quite easy. But no, it doesn't want to. That's not going to be an easy one, I don't think. No, it's in there. Whoops, there we go. Just use the little hooky thing. Okay, so that's that. Clean that. There's a couple of things to bear in mind that I want to show you. This circlip here, that runs all the way around, this aluminium plate has got a slot in it down here, and the screw that I took out, that I just took out on that plate, that fits in one of the holes of the circlip. So when you put it back together again, you've got to make sure that the hole of the circlip is over the slit in this aluminium plate and over the hole in the nylon bush. So that's one thing to bear in mind. And then the Allen head that I told you about, is in actual fact a 5/16. And 5/16 wouldn't fit through the 3/8 plate, so I'm going to see before I undo this, because I might want to put tension on it. I probably don't need to actually, because I've got that. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can get that out now. Got a feeling this might be a bit of a bugger, so I'm going to well, again, that doesn't want to budge. Ooh. I don't know, I don't know if the other one was actually glued in. Still, okay, there you go, 3/8 thread. That looked like they got some thread lock there. Probably why it was a bugger to get out. Anyway, so I don't think I'm going to get that out. Now this nylon bush has got a metal plate in it that you'll see once I finally get the thing apart. So I don't think I'm going to get this out. It looks like it's pressed in like the base plate. Let's do that up nice and tight. Yeah, that looks like that's pressed in, so I think I'm going to have to drill that out. So that's what I'll do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that this is level square, which is easy enough. Just clamp that down. Okay. Right, now, as I said on the first video when I introduced this, helicoil thread repair kit, the size hole that you drill in order to re-thread it correctly, correct size for a helicoil, is 9.9, and the sleeve in the other head was 10, fitted in a 10mm hole. So I've got a 9mm drill bit, so I know I can go 9.5. If it still doesn't come out, I know I can go up to 10, but I can't really go above that because then I won't be able to get a thread repair in. So we'll see how it goes. Right, I'm going to go 10mm. I hope I haven't hit the limitations. Okay, 10mm. I'll go a little bit deeper. I'm definitely past this. What I'm going to do is I'll go even bigger, and I'll try not to go deeper than that, so then that should break it away, but then I've still got a hole that I can helicoil, I can tap in the helicoil. So I'm just going to go a bit bigger. Okay, I've gone 13mm. I should clamp this, but I can't think of a way of clamping it down, so I've just got a really firm grip on it. It's got that ring out, hasn't it? I wonder if I bash that now. I'll just try and bash it. Yep, it's coming. Shazam. Okay. Right, now I've still got enough to helicoil that, so I'm alright. So now the next thing to do is to get the 9.9mm drill, which is the correct size for the helicoil tap. So here's the helicoil kit. And as I said on the previous video, the drill size for tapping the helicoil is 9.9, and that just fits straight in. So that probably means that that's a 10mm hole, I expect. Same as the other one. So now that's 10mm. This tap cuts the thread, cuts a new thread that the helicoil fits into. I say helicoil, the helicoil's generic name, like sellotape. So I know that's square. Now when you cut a thread, if you use cutting compound, it's always going to be better. And that just prolongs the life of your tools, and it makes for a cooler cut in terms of temperature. So a bit of that, and then start okay, that all that did was got that started dead plumb. That's what I wanted to do there. So now I'll take that over to the vise. I think it's easier to do it like this than use normally these taps. They've got a thing called a tap wrench, which you can get various ones. But I think it's easier in the vise, because otherwise I've got to clamp the body of this. I don't really want to do that. Okay, so nice and all this is doing is, as I said, is cutting a thread that the helicoil then fits into. That is the cutting compound that I've been using. Just makes for a better cut. I reckon these clamps these ball joints can probably take quite a bit of weight, because I'm putting a fair old amount of force on these on this, and it's not slipping one bit. So I reckon they're probably pretty good. The other thing I like about them is that they're kind of really simple. I know the B1 I've read is over-engineered and over-complicated and prone to jamming unless you adjust it properly. Whereas these, it's just a simple clamp. So I reckon in a way they're kind of better. Right, that'll be deep enough. There you go, a cut thread, and the helicoil will screw into that, and then that will make it a 3/8 UNC. So I'll just clean that out. I'll just blow that through with the air gun. Nice and clean. Right, so now I put a helicoil in. So that's the helicoil, and then it's got a tongue on it that you tap out after you've done this. This has got a groove in there. I think you can see it there. And then that, and you can adjust this collar here. And then that just goes in the top of the thread and screws down. Put the persuader away. I think I need that collar down a bit more. And you screw the helicoil in until it's about a half a thread into the thread that you've cut. And because I've drilled that out and it's a bit big at the beginning, it's going to be going down a bit deeper than it would normally. So now that's gone, end of the helicoil's gone down half a thread, and then I just tap out the tongue with this little tool they give you. There we go, that's that. Now I got some studs with a Allen key head. Which is a 3/16, and then that screws into there, and it's an inch long, so I've got ample going into the body, and also then that leaves enough for the clamp. Now because it was a 10mm hole and not a 9.9, this is a bit loose. It's fine, it holds, but it's just going to be a bit loose. So what I've done on the other one is I wrapped PTFE plumber's tape around it, just to tighten it up a little bit. I figured once the clamp's on there, it's all going to be fairly sort of solid, and it wouldn't budge once I tightened the clamp on, the head. But also the other thing you could do is put a thread lock in. Okay, so that's that bit done. Now it's going to be undoing the circlip, and this is one of those times where the right tool is really important. So these are circlip pliers, and they clip into the circlip, and it's a pretty beefy circlip. Maybe it's because that's tightened up. Yeah, I had the clamp tightened up, so I think that was pushing on the circlip. Nearly had it. I think I'm just going to go around the edge and prise it up. There we go, one circlip. Stubborn. Okay, so now I've got the aluminium plate that I told you about. And there you can see the groove. Now that's interesting. That has got a chamfered piece on it there, and that was towards the plastic, towards the nylon. So that was like that with the chamfer there. Okay, there's that. There's the bottom clamp, and there's the top clamp. Aha! Well, it's got a little pin there. That isn't in my one. Now, that's interesting. Now this wasn't in mine, so that means mine's probably been apart. But there was a pin in the top nylon thing that goes in a weeny little hole. There. Worth bearing in mind. So mine had actually been, looks like my other one had been taken apart because I didn't find a pin, unless that's a copper, little copper pin. In my haste, I dropped it on the floor. Anyway, there you have the body, and that's ready to clean. I'll just clean that up and inside and all the nylon stuff, and then I'll put it back together again. There's the metal part that I told you about with a little dimple that little dimple goes into when you screw it up. And then your tension goes onto this side, so that pushes it against the body and just clamps it, and then this does a proper job. So I think that's probably enough. That's interesting, that's got a big score in it. I wonder where that came from. It wasn't with me. Might have to. It's got a score in it. I'll gently file that and emery paper it so it's smooth. Not a lot I can do about that. That's how it was. So that's that. I'll clean it all up, and then I'll get back to the video when I put it back together again, and I'll put it back together again in the house, so I've got a clean table and you can see properly what I've done. But all I'm going to do now is clean the glue off around here, you know, generally make it nice, and then I'll put it back together again. So I'll see you back indoors. The first thing is this little pin that I did think was copper, but that was rust, so it's steel. It's 1.5mm by 8mm long, and it's called a spring dowel pin, and you can buy those off eBay quite cheaply. So I might take my other one apart and put that, because what that stops it doing is slipping when you've got some tension on it. The other thing to mention is that this was in there, and then that was pushed into the head. Now I think when I drilled it out, I haven't actually gone past this material, so I haven't ever drilled into the ball, which is good. And I think by drilling it, it heats up and it maybe sort of helps to loosen it a bit. And when I put the 13mm drill in and the head came off and I tapped it, the whole thing came out. Now I think, thinking about it, is that once I took out the 3/8 bolt, I then, and this was then still attached to the head, with the top bit that I hadn't drilled out, I reckon I could have tapped that out. So I don't think there's any need to drill. I think you just undo the bolt at the back and then tap it all the way around and that will come out. So there's obviously a few designs. Mine I had to drill out because it was stuck in the circular bit. Like I showed you this, I just put another 6mm thread on there because it was all bent and I couldn't straighten it out very well. I don't think I'll ever use this really, because it hasn't got, the plates I use have got cutouts for the non-slip bits on the plate that goes to the camera, and these haven't got them, so I'd be left with having to unscrew my little safety things on all my stuff. But I'll keep it. I mean, that's a 13mm hole, so I might be able to bolt it to something or do something with it. So that was another thing. The other thing is this little scrape that was in there. I filled that with chemical metal, which is quite a strong compound. Once it's dried, you can tap it and all sorts, and then just very smoothly rub that down. I didn't want grit and dirt collecting in the groove, so that was the other thing I did. Right, so start putting it together. So the first thing is to get that pin lined up with that little hole. So that's okay. Now this, it's important to line this dimple up with the hole. Which is there. And then we'll screw this in, but not tight. I just want it to hold the dimple. All those threads have been cleaned. Right, that's there. Yep. Okay, now it's important that the bevel edge there goes towards the nylon, and the slot lines up with the hole in the clamp thing. That's bevel edge down, slot lines up. Okay, now the circlip. And that's got it. I'll leave that like that. And these circlips are alright just to tap back in. Okay, that's all aligned. That's all in. That's good. Another little screw. No, plate first. Screw. I think this all just stops it twisting. So that's in. I'm just going to what I might do is, I'll leave that for now, but I might go back and glue that if and when. I think that's okay. And that will settle down. Okay, so now this is a 4mm by 10mm knurled knob thumb screw, knurled thumb screw. So 4mm by 10mm knurled thumb screw, and the spring is 5.2 diameters by 7.5 long. So that just goes in there. Again, you get those off eBay. And that's just your tension. Okay, so the next thing is the base. So I'm just going to spray a little bit of silicone on there. And line those up. That's better. Good. 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 Okay, now I'm just going to give that a little tap. that's it. That's got it. Okay. And that's all lined up, that's all done. Got to line that up with that. All these threads I ran a tap down through them. That's all right. That's okay. Right, now this that I explained, I just wrapped a little bit of plumber's PTFE tape round, and that's really just to keep it in place. And if there was any doubt, you could always get a longer bolt, a longer stud, but I don't think there's a need. I mean, it's 3/8, and all it's holding is a few £1,000 worth of carriage gear. That'll be alright. I mean, that's good and stiff now. The thing I like about this now is that I can fit any number of heads on. So that's really nice. So I'm glad about that. So there we are, all finished. I hope this has been helpful for you, and you enjoyed watching, and I'll catch you later. Cheerio!